Good evening, everybody. On a FairTV Conservation Commission acting as in my wetland agency for March 12th, 2025. Lucas Thomas, Richard Boucher, Jay Payne, Peter Hood, Ed Singer, Diane Saunders, Heather Rosenthal, are all here, and Salvatore Vassallo is online. And I will appoint Diane and Heather right now as members, and we'll deal with it if Daphne gets here later. Okay, all right. So those are our alternates. Now moving on to Roman 4. Approval of the draft meeting minutes, Inland Wetlands Agency. February 5th, 2025. The new thing is our first time doing it, so I did kind of go back to my old way. I'll pause here, and if you can all stand and right there. Yeah, and wherever. Why don't you start, right?
The United States of America. And the Republic, which is a nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Sorry about that. All right, so. Now we're back to the approval.
Let's do that.
Number 1 is Inland Wetlands Agency. Have any corrections and comments?
There's a minor typo under muddle puddle. Second line, Arial, ARIAL.
Muddy puddle. Okay, just say please on line.
Yeah, she was here.
Model, right, so it's under Roman 8, legal enforcement action. Number 3, it's muddy. Muddle, so if that could be corrected. Anything else for any commissioners? Otherwise, a motion to approve with correction. So we'll change. Second, and Ted seconds. Who's the one that's taking the minutes, right? Are you, can you hear us? I just want to make sure you're okay.
True.
Hopefully we can start.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute myself.
Were you able
I'm
to-
here and I did hear that.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to.
Thank you.
That's very important. Thank you very much. All right. So all in favor of opening? Yes, on that one. Okay, and number 2 is Inland Wetlands Agency site walk February 23, 2025. All in favor? Yeah, I don't even think we need a motion. That's fine. All in favor for the second one too. All right, now moving on to Living Room 5. That's the public hearing section. And it's number 1, continued WP-24-0117. Career Engineering, abstract of roads and 46 part of 20A. Removal of existing failing, retaining wall and construction of new modular block wall within a regulated area. Decision will be made if the hearing is completed, or the hearing may be continued. The original 35-month public hearing timeframe to complete the hearing ended January 8th, 2025. 20 days of extension was provided by the applicant for continuation February 6th, 2025. An additional 37-day extension may be provided by the applicant. Further public hearing continuations to March 14th are possible. A potential continuation date is March 12th, 2025. The hearing is completed. The agent shall issue within 35 days. If it's eligible to vote, Lucas Thomas, Stephanie Bowden, Jay Train, engineer Diane Saunders. commissioners that were not present December 4th, 2024, or January 8th, 2025. Were Richard Boucher, Sue Rosenthal, Salvatore Paulo, to be eligible for vote, they must state for the record that they have listened to the recording and viewed the exhibit. Rich, you're not, say, Heather?
Yes, I have.
You have. All right, and Sal?
I have not.
You have not, okay, very good. So Heather, since you are now, an alternate voting member, we'll have you stay on, Dan, if you can. Get off the staff meeting just got off, okay, very good. Let's begin. All that's over.
For the record, my name is Jim Rotendo. I'm a licensed professional engineer with Blair Engineering with office located in Shelton. Also with me, Bill Kenny, William Kenny Associates, our project soil scientist and landscape architect. At the last hearing, Bill presented his planting plan, submitted it into the record. I think that basically concluded our presentation. So at this point, we'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, very good. Commissioners, any questions, comments?
I'm sure it's in front of me, but I have a hard time discerning from the print where the proposed wall is. Are you gonna show that, Bill, or? Dr. Sherman, I can't determine if it's like. This is.
Oh, there it is. Right here, with its little thin lines.
Yep, I think we got it.
I'll point it out.
Right,
Oh, I see it. I can leave for your
Yep.
presentation. Okay.
Yep.
And it's in one side.
Yeah.
One side.
That's what I read one of them. Right there.
Yeah. Thanks.
Right. All right. Any further questions? But the applicant. Okay. That speaker, okay, is there anybody here in the audience that would like to speak in support of the application? Anybody here in the audience that'd like to speak in support of this application? Anybody online that would like to speak in support of this application? Anybody here that would like to speak in opposition to this application? Anybody here that would like to speak in opposition? Anybody online that would like to speak in opposition to this application? Anybody online that would like to speak in opposition to this application? Okay. Commissioners, close the public hearing, discussion, whatever you guys would like to do. Okay, anybody second that? Second. Abby makes the motion and Jay seconds it. All in favor? Okay. That's. You want to just move on? You want to just?
This, I think we can.
You can do that,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this is an application necessity, needs to be done. I think they've been responsible in addressing all the situation and it's done the best. And I know this is. So, point on, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve this application. Yeah, with the staff's recommendation.
Anybody second that? So Jay made a motion and Dabney seconded. All in favor? 5. Okay, that's pretty much all around. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're moving on to number 2, number 5, still it's public hearing. It's WP-24-0134 for the Huntington Company, 1153 Nashville Hill Road, map 239, parcel 7B. Construction of a single-family residence with swimming pool, patio, retaining wall, and associated site improvement in a regulated area. Decision may be made if the hearing is completed or the hearing may be continued. The original 35-day public hearing timeframe to complete the hearings and on February 12th, 2025. A 65-day time extension may be provided by the applicant. So further public hearings continuations to April 18th, 2025 are possible. A potential continuation date is March. The second time.
All right,
That
that,
can't be
I
right.
must have copied that because that's today.
Yeah, so that happened in the last one too. I think
Yeah,
that can't
'cause
be
it's-
right.
Um,
When we do the minutes or whatever, please correct that.
yeah,
All right, so the potential date will be.
it would be April 2nd would be the next.
Okay, okay. If the hearing is completed, the agency shall make a decision within 35 days. Again, Commissioner is eligible to vote. Dabney Bell. Keep it short. Gator Mahoney, Ted Finger, and Diane Strong. Applicant is not present January 8th, 2025. To be eligible to vote, they must state for the record that they have listened to the recording. Rachel, sorry, Richard, Jay, Heather Rosenthal, and Sal. Richard? No. No, okay. Heather?
Yes.
Heather had, okay, and Sal. Didn't we be able to vote now anyway, so that.
No, I haven't.
You have not,
Sorry, I was,
okay.
I have not.
All right, this, Attorney Russo's well.
Attorney Crusoe's online.
Oh, is
We
he?
were waiting, to get a receipt for the, and
And,
the natural diversity people to see what the.
yeah, and they came in and said.
Yes, which was just received,
Yeah.
I think Attorney Crusoe can speak to that.
Attorney Russo. Can you
Yes,
hear us?
yes, Chair, Commissioners, Chris Russo with Russo and Rizzo LLC, offices at 10 Saskell Hill Road in Fairfield, here on behalf of the applicant. I apologize for not being able to be there in person. We did receive the NDDB request response from Deep. And I don't know if you received a copy of it, but what they noted was that there are piping plovers that are noted that possible in the area. And what they really just said was that they're protected species and that they have a nesting season March through August, and that they nest on right here it says sparsely vegetated beaches and are sensitive during their nesting season. The good news, if you recall this, and I could certainly pull up the plan, but we're not doing any work near the beach. There's the beach, and then there's actually a stone revetment in between the beach and our property, and then there's a large conservation easement. And so all the work is going on beyond that conservation easement that's held by Aspetuck Land Trust. So we're still staying well away from them, but obviously good to know. And I think your staff has recommended approval on this, but glad we were able to get this in.
Thank you, Attorney Russo. Appreciate it. And hopefully this is a public hearing. Is anybody here in the audience that'd like to speak in support of this application? Anybody here in the audience that'd like to speak in support of this application? Anybody online that'd like to speak in support of this application? Anybody online that'd like to speak in support of this application? Anybody here in the audience that'd like to speak in opposition to this application? Anybody here that'd like to speak in opposition? And anybody online that would like to speak in opposition? Anybody would like to speak in opposition? That's on. Okay. Commissioners, so the public hearing?
I make a motion. I think they've answered all the questions. I think we have enough information, got enough information to make an informed decision. So I would make a motion to close the public hearing.
Okay.
Dealt with all the questions.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then we're just closing the public hearing. So Commissioner Fain had a motion, Commissioner Hood seconded to close the public hearing out. Any motion to approve? Discussion? Sure.
I'd like to just draw a distinction. I'm not a great fan of the site plan. I think that, from a site plan, that looks large retaining wall. Should be avoided, however, that's not our bailiwick. Our bailiwick is to determine whether there's any impact or actually any impact to wetland and water courses. In this case, it's well removed by the site. It's only some very small portion, there's been an upland review on it. And I think the applicant's provided more than ample information for us to determine that there's no significant impact to wetlands and water courses. So, under that circumstance, I'll make a motion to move the, road. Okay. With those conditions.
Which is, anybody second? Okay, Hood seconds that work. All in favor? Aye, all around. Okay. We're moving on to number 3. That's WD -25-0015, William Kenny Associates LLC, 1118 Crossing Highway, Taxing Club, map 220, Apartment 23. Redesigns of golf course layout, including grading and cart path relocation, modification to drainage. Water system, construction of 2 green accessory buildings and associated structures within regulated areas. The hearing is completed, but the hearing may be continued. The original 35-day public hearing timeframe, the hearing ends on April 16, 2025. 65-day time extension may be provided by the applicant. So further public hearing continuations to June 20th, 2025 is possible. And that continuation date is April 2nd, 2025. If the hearing is completed, we shall make a decision within 35 days. And staff recommends tabling application pending staff review on site meeting with the applicant. Okay, hello.
Howdy. Chairman, members of the commission, for the record, my name is Joe Patrick. I'm an attorney in Fairfield, with a law firm of Russo and Rubio, with offices at 10 Sasko Hill Road. We're here tonight representing the Allison Club, located at 1118 Staffs Highway. It's a membership club founded in 1946. On a parcel of 165 acres on Cross Highway. There's a golf course, swimming pool, tennis and paddleball courts, clubhouse constructed in 2009, and various outbuildings. Club is engaged in a golf course renovation project, the first step of which is addressing several ponds and culverts in the northwesterly portion of the property, which needed attention. The dredging of several ponds and the relocation and replacement of several culverts was proposed. Conservation Commission approved this phase 1 proposal after public hearings held on August 7 and August 21, 2024. Commission also conducted a site visit to the property. That culvert dredging project is nearing completion. Second phase, as I outlined in the public hearings in August of last year, second phase of this project is the realignment of the rear golf holes, the repair and replacement of the existing sprinkler system, modification of the existing clubhouse patio, construction of 2 relatively minor buildings, a turn starter facility and a teaching facility, and general golf course renovations. Presentation for the commission is doing here tonight, including Mr. Jason Harrison, the golf course superintendent at the club, and Bill Kenny of William Kenny Associates, professional wetland scientist and soil scientist. Also on hand to answer questions. Necessary is Mike Shevlin of the Huntington Company, a well-known land engineer surveying out in Fairfield, as well as Tom Bartek, club general manager. Before I introduce Mr. Mearsman, I'd like to offer a context and background on the proposed golf course improvements. Proposed improvements represent the work of a first-class golf course architect, Jaeger Kovich. Mr. Kovich has worked with several well-known golf course architects, including Bill Coyle, Tom Dove, and Bill Hance. One of his greatest projects was the construction of a golf course on an island in China. Closest to Mr. Kovich will stand out in his field who knows what he's doing. Golf course architecture is as much art as it is technical expertise. Plans before the commission are essentially a reworking and updating of the value set from the artistic perspective of this golf course architecture. first blush, you do the sheets price of this application, it looks to be a good deal of new service. It is really not. Much of the proposed is done by reshaping and renovating existing bunkers and drains. This is the kind of renovation, reshaping of the existing bunkers, which is nothing. So we'll move the first phase of the, if you include the dredging and culvert reconstruction, necessarily involve considerable work in wetlands and water courses. That's not the case here. The environmental impact is really kind of is virtually minimal in this. With the first expansion of the clubhouse patio and outdoor dining. And it comes back to the future facility. It's into the existing practice range, that's about 2,500 square feet. And the construction of the new permanent starter facility provides us less than 600 square feet, which is all the new building construction located outside the regulated area. And as such has no negative impact on any wetland. At this point, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to introduce Mr. From here to the bill, there were two superintendents, Dr. Patterson. Jason.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you very much for that introduction and let's talk about phase two. It wasn't that long ago, phase one. We were here talking about it. We gotta walk the property and see everything. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. I got a little presentation on to make sure it's I want to make sure we get across, but Mr. Fitzpatrick explaining to everyone and here. Start this up here. Subtitles, hopefully no subtitles. So yeah, very simply here. I wanted to kind of start off, go through some of our goals. We've been working on golf long-range planning for a long time at the Patterson Club. And very simply, our goals here during this project are simple. Some of them will be pertinent to this group, and some of them are kind of, like you mentioned, it's artwork, it is strategic golf. It is something that will bore most people if you're not an enthusiast. But number one is critical infrastructure. Critical infrastructure, all these things have life expectancy. So this is like a roof on a house. These bunkers have 7 to 10 year life expectancy, so on and so on. Dredging, as you said, with culverts, these things we recently replaced and fixed up and got them working properly. Irrigation system. We'll touch on all this quickly, and then I'll get to kind of the process. I think you guys are going to be most interested in, and what really happens with golf course construction. The bottom four here are really just about creating more hole locations and making the golf course more strategic for the lower handicappers and more enjoyable for higher handicappers. So I don't really know if anybody has that much excitement about that, other than yours truly. So critical infrastructure. This is something that a number of golf course organizations like USGA, PGA, National Golf Foundation, the Golf Course Superintendents Association of America. We all came together, the Golf Course Builders Association. We all came together and kind of put together a life expectancy for golf course components. Bunkers stand 5 to 7 years before it becomes contaminated. Irrigation systems, 10 to 30 years. We're currently in year 28 of that. But as you saw with our dredging and our culverts, it was time to replace these things. And I am happy to report that it's going spectacular. It's been quite a learning experience for myself. But as you can see in some of these photos, that top left photo over there, we have the wetland shelf that's about 6 inches below the 6 inches of water, where all of our drainage will be leaving our golf course components and going through that, so it can help clean the water before it hits open water. You have your golf course, you have your culverts on the bottom right-hand side. These, the open bottom box culverts were, at first I was a little nervous. I didn't know much about them. Incredible. It creates it's almost like a neat babbling brook below it. But it's also great, obviously, for habitat, so they can move freely through our property, all the different wildlife. So it's been quite an undertaking, and I'm so happy for the guys we got to work with on phase one and the construction company that's been doing this work along with the group of Patterson, all of our staff. from some of the part-timers that are running around catching the bass and little fish traps and moving them to other ponds and the turtles, and it's been a lot of fun. Bunkers, this is one of our biggest issues right now, and this is a 7 to 10 year life expectancy. We're currently on year 15 of our bunkers. What happens here is sand washes down, gets contaminated with soil, and it needs to be replaced, doesn't play properly. I can still have great bunker shots out of it, but a lot of our members can't. So it's time to replace these. And with bunkers, some architects used to think, let's make the golf course extremely challenging, we'll put bunkers everywhere. And other people think, well, a good golfer doesn't really get that impacted by these bunkers. So let's move them out of the way and let the people that are still learning the game enjoy it. And we'll create strategy in the golf somewhere else. So it's a great opportunity to do some modifying, moving and shifting these bunkers at the same time. And it's going to hopefully allow us to have more of our rough mowed by robots. It's going to have a lot less maintenance on my day-to-day. So all is well. Irrigation, we call this irritation in my business. 1,500 sprinkler heads on property. All right. We try to use them as the least amount possible. Watering grass, to me, watering grass, fertilizing grass, all that's overeating. The more you do, the more it kind of makes things unhealthy. So we try to run a lean, mean environment there. With the aging irrigation system, 28 years, actually 29 this year, we are at the very end of our life expectancy, and this is awful to show up to, on a Saturday morning. But the reality is, with new irrigation system comes all the new technology. We're putting in HDPE pipes. These have 50+ year life expectancy. And also the new technology that comes in. We have catch cans all over the property. So if I'm sleeping and I have an irrigation system looking to run 2/10 of an inch of rain, if I fall asleep and half the golf course sees an inch or a 1/10 of an inch of rainwater, and the other side of the golf course sees nothing, it will balance itself out. The irrigation system that's the area of the golf course that's all no water will water 2/10, and the other side will put out 1/10. So it's very nice to know that we're going to be kind of catching up. Top left one, you can see a bunch of ductile iron flushing out of our heads. This stuff sticks in our heads and clogs our system, and this is just rust inside of some of the elbows and things of that nature in our pipe. So we'll move on from there. So golf course construction. So basically what we're looking to do in these areas, and when you look at those maps, you see, oh my gosh, there's a lot of work going on. Again, the reality of these areas are the green surrounds, tee surrounds, and then some key areas where we are shifting, where we're hoping to shift some holes and create a better short game practice area, driving range for our membership. And that was our second goal there, is to really create better golf practice. And so you'll see the idea that our golf course architect came up with, and we're hoping to accomplish. But golf course construction starts with the deconstruction. And what I mean by that is we're going to sod cut these tee boxes, these greens. We put the sod to the side on tarps. We let it sit in shaded areas. We'll be hand watering those, keeping them alive, which means we got to move fast, right? So then from there, you take the topsoil off the areas. You take the bunker sand, put it aside. It's contaminated, but we can use it to fill in our drainage trenches. So we're going to reuse as much of these materials as possible. Basically, all of our materials except for the boulders that are never ending coming out of our soil. Then you get to a part where it's basically it's time to shape. All those good usable materials are staged somewhere else, and then we get shaping out the golf course. So this is where our artist comes into play. Again, this is exciting for a golf enthusiast, but if not, it's kind of like, okay, you're just changing the shapes of the bunkers. At this stage, he does all the shaping, makes it pretty nice, and then we come in and reconstruct. At that time, we put in irrigation, we put in our drainage as needed, and then we build our green profiles, followed by basically taking that sod off that plastic, putting it back on, sanding the seams. You can see the sand in the seams there, and then it's on our staff to grow it and don't let it die. So that's when they hand it off to us and say, make it, keep it beautiful. So I like to call this stuff surface work because it really is for a group of professionals that are doing this work, and I'll get to that list of professionals later. But it's important to understand that this is basically, for these crews, they do this every day, all day, every day. And it's pretty exciting stuff. And I can't wait to watch it work. Some of our members said, Jay, why don't you just do it? I don't do that for a living. You know, I do other stuff for a living. I'd like to pretend I'm decent at it, but there's no chance I can hang with these guys. So this is the map you guys are looking at. We color coordinated to show the wetlands here and the wetland soils. And as you can see, we've been blessed with a great deal of wetland soils on our property. And obviously on your walkthroughs, you saw the great habitats out there, the great wildlife that's wandering through there, all the great pollinator pathway areas. So it's really important to, you know, for us to, we understand what we have here. We're looking to not take just advantage of correcting the golf course, but also improve these habitats and keep doing what we've been working on. And excited for you guys to see Mr. Kenny's plans because there's a lot of great stuff he's put together here. On the next couple slides, you'll see I have taken sections of these. Originally, we were going to go map page by page with you, but I thought that would take too long. So I just want to run you through some of this. This is that northwest corridor where we started our dredging. The top left of that green there, that's where the water comes onto our property. On 5 has been dredged, the culvert's done. 6 is done, culvert's done. 7 bond, same as that. So all of that heavy lifting in these areas have basically been done. What we're looking to do is come into this area and all of these areas in the restricted, these areas in red are in the restricted areas. So basically what we have is we're already there. We're just looking to fix it, as in change the shape of the bunkers or change the type of grass that's in there. We're already there playing golf. So you'll see these tee boxes are all circled. All the tee boxes are just, we're going from rectangles to free form. So you don't have to keep perfect straight lines everywhere. And it also allows us to have a little more space to move around traffic. It's a little bit easier to keep grass alive. So, you know, as I go through this, by the way, if you have any questions, feel free, but
I just have one question.
yes, please.
I just, can you quantify the amount of disturbance you're gonna have it actually in the wetlands and then the amount of disturbance you're gonna have in the upland review area?
Yeah, well, the exact square footage of the upland review area, I'm not positive. You know, like I said, the
Bill, do you know?
top of your head,
Wait, I'll take a look.
perfect. I was gonna say, I'm surprised they, yeah. So, right here, we have 11, 12, 17, our central area of our golf course. We have some Army Corps drainage that was put in years ago. And then we also have some nice wetland meadows here. The work that's happening there is the same thing. It's just basically surface work with the tee boxes. The fairway's already been expanded with changing mower heights and things of that nature. But very minimal work in this area. 14, 15, again, same thing. We're talking about bunkers, tees. This stuff will be done in less than a week, or basically a week per hole. So these areas are not disturbed for more than a week at a time, and they'll obviously be protected. We have all erosion control expected that we expect to put in, straw wattle, silt fence, all of that good stuff. And we'll be protecting these, obviously, these water courses really well.
Question, are you gonna shut down half the course to keep half open?
It's less disturbance than that even. You're basically gonna see a crew of the golf course contractor named Bruce LeVar. This crew has a deconstruction crew. They go out and they disassemble the golf course. Then the shaper comes in and he's shaping, and there's a crew right behind them, putting it back together. So it's kind of a train.
You're gonna keep the course playable as.
Yeah. So first we're gonna break down 3 holes. That's the start will be 3 holes, and then we'll be kind of chasing him. The architect will be chasing that crew, and then the cleanup crew is coming in. It's no more than a week or 2 of exposed ground at one time. But yes, we will be having golfers out there until it gets, September 1st is kind of our cutoff date of no more golf.
So more or less, Commissioner, the first start July 1, the first 2 weeks, maybe you're playing 15 holes.
Right.
After that, you're gonna be
wondering.
playing
So
12.
you're not doing,
By the
it's
time
gonna be
you hit-
phased then, you're not
by the
doing
time
the
you hit
night.
Labor Day, you're on the street.
And we had to sell this as a soft close, because taking away a golf course for
Right.
July ons. They've been running around chasing me around town lately, so, no, so yeah, we're trying to stay open and accommodate our members as much as possible, but at the same time, I think everybody understands the value of what we have, this opportunity brings. This is kind of the meat and potatoes of the entire project here. This is where we were talking about, we're shifting some holes our golf course architect identified some ways to create the short game practice area. And the practice area has been here. You can see that bottom right view. That's the current view of it. That's our driving range. It's just kind of a blank field with some mounds out there that we have flags in and some targets. It's kind of unsightly when it comes to most golf course practice areas. Also, our 18th hole was never really designed to be there. So it's always kind of played a little funny. Nobody's understood why is this such like our only bad hole? What do we do here? So our golf course architect found an opportunity to change the 18th hole, slide it up the hill, made a much better golf hole, and creating more space for this driving range short game practice area. Giving us the ability to put in a building, much more tee space, and then also this place where I can learn to chip and putt and make bunker shots. So it's a great improvement for our membership, and something that we're all very excited about it. That is the one area that's really focused in a wetland. That there's a target green in the middle of this map here that kind of sits on top of wetland soils. We're hoping to put that in. That's like your 170 shot you're aiming at. It's wetland soils. It's currently, as you can see on that other plan, it's currently grass in a field. So what we're really looking to do there is just kind of cap it with some subsurface, with some soil, and then grass it right on top of where it sits. There will be very little disturbance in that area. We're not really planning on getting the excavators and digging or anything like that. We're just basically building up a and all of these restricted areas, that's kind of what you're seeing. The areas of note, so these are a couple areas to me that are very important for this project to be successful. We have a northwest staging area. So over by 5 off of Merwin's Lane there is a large area. We have a gate UI. We share a gate code with UI. They come in and manage the power there on our property for that neighborhood. But we also have a big area that's always been disturbed. We currently had a spoils being taken there from the dredging. So this is a great opportunity to make that a much more usable space. We plan on creating a berm to hide it, but we'd also like to asphalt it so we can bring in our clean bunker sand, stage it there without contaminating it and losing so much of this good sand. And then there was a great moving forward too, to have a place where we can at least
Asphalting, approximately how many square feet will you asphalt?
this section right here's about 5,000 square feet we think we're gonna have, and I think we've budgeted on this for 6, and the detention system is related to 6,000 square feet.
So asphalting 6,000 square feet.
Yes.
And permanent.
Yeah, we would like to keep it permanently. It'd be very strategic for our operations.
That's outside of wetland buffer.
Yes, it's definitely, yes, it's outside the wetland buffer. Yep. It's one of the very few places we have left to use as a club. And our footprints are very challenging when it comes to our facilities. But yes, that would be, as you can see here, Huntington's engineers put together the detention system. It's right next to the fairway. And anyway, yeah. The other area up here we have is the bottom middle picture. I have an arrow pointed to a shaded area on your plans. It's basically an area where we like to put all of our clean debris. So we're gonna have rocks from when we're doing the irrigation system. We're gonna have certain grass areas that we don't plan on reusing the sod. Those spoils will get chewed up and we dump them there. Right now, it's currently a hillside that's extremely severe, and every year it's covered in mile a minute. Every year, and it's a nightmare to try to maintain it. I would love to soften that hill so we can actually maintain it. And Mr. Kenny has some great plans put together for where we're gonna do kind of an evergreen forest that kind of blocks off that entire area.
Briefly, what was that adjacent to?
That's hole 15. It's our Cape hole. It's near our maintenance facility and our staging area for where we kind of keep our top dress and sand, things of that nature. But it's an area where it's just such a great opportunity to clean it up once and for all. And again, we can soften that grade enough where our robots, we have a new robot that can mow 70-degree slopes. So, it's something where we can actually have this thing maintain it while we're improving the habitats by putting in we're planning on putting in some cedar trees. We have a whole bunch of flowering trees we're looking to put in.
And you can maintain the invasives.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Because right now it's so severe, we can't. There's no robots that can do it. And then when we do it by hand, it's months on end.
That's next to your maintenance facility?
Yes, it's near our sand bins, yep. You can kind of see in that top right picture.
It's over here, right? Right here. No, it's this one.
No, you're over a little further to your right. Can I come on over here? Sure. Yeah, so.
Oh, I
so-
see.
Yeah, so it's right here. So, yeah, we have sand bins up here. This little cutout here are sand bins and like an area where we store material. And then this is an extremely steep hill here. We're just looking to soften that. So we can get it better. And then it's also a great place to put all of our material in the spot. This is a cart path. This is a cart
Oh, that
path.
is.
So we're removing this cart path over
Got it.
here. You'll see a bunch of removing of cart paths. I think I mentioned in our walkthroughs. A great deal of cart paths will be removed. And then there's new cart paths to be put in. We're basically evening that out. So what we're removing, we're basically putting back.
What's the car path material?
Asphalt where it has to be on heavy slopes, and then in a number of areas, we got about 15,000 square feet that we're gonna go from asphalt to porous, like just crushed stone, road base basically. Yeah, and we're trying to get those in all the flat, low-lying areas. So when we were walking through, I don't remember who was there on that trip, but we were going through and I was kind of explaining to everybody, these areas that are flat through 6 and 5, we wanna leave them stone dust. If it's running and it's running off and it's running in the grass or into a stream, then we're planning on asphalting it just to maintain it, so it's not a constant maintenance nightmare. The practice building, here we are with the practice building, so the rendering up top of kind of what that looks like next to the tee box. This is basically 3 garage doors that come up, and we have an opportunity for our golfers to hit balls, get lessons, and in the rain and the snow, and it's heated. We're kind of taking a little note from our Smith Richardson, you know what I mean? But they did a great job up there. This is gonna be a 3-bay facility, some of the best technology possible for teaching golf. But it's very much a lot of clubs in the area are trying to get these things
That's
executed.
outside the wetland.
Yes, outside, the septic system that's proposed is outside the wetlands. And the water detention will be underneath a range tee outside of any restricted areas. So we've done all of our soil testing in these areas as well to make sure they work, make sure it works enough where we're gonna be successful. Sure, Mr. Kenny touched on a lot of this stuff where, we've done, like I said, I'm excited to be here, talking about phase 2 because we're doing all the work to get here. And then here is the turn. So we call this is the starters house here. So starter shack and then the turn. The turn we call it turn because you're halfway through your round, you stop and you get something to eat, something to drink, and use facilities. And then you have your starter there telling you to speed up because you're playing too slow. So this is kind of it is perfect for us because he's been sitting underneath an umbrella and out in the elements his entire career. So he's pretty excited about this. But it's actually working out perfect where we have it. The power, all the power and water will be coming from the building. We're creating a new septic system for both of these buildings in that previous photo we showed you. And then this one also has a water detention area next to it that will sit on a hillside, kind of above the teaching area. And we proposed this in a very aggressive timeline. We're breaking ground July 7th. And these guys want to be home for Christmas. I'm hoping they're away from us and we're done by Christmas as well. So this aggressive timeline can only be done by having the right team in place. And I put down all of our amazing contractors that we've hired, all these professionals that we're using to get this work accomplished. Obviously the 2 gentlemen next to me, Mr. Shevlin, who's behind us. We have Ross Nazaro doing the dredging. It has been it's been very impressive working with these guys. The plan that they put in place with the giant plastic haul roads it has allowed us to do that time after a crazy winter, and we have next to no mess. When you go out there, there are no haul roads to clean up afterwards. We're basically buttoning up the edges of the ponds, the culvert work, very clean. And even Mr. Walt Stapleton, who has been out there a handful of times, monitoring this multiple times. He's always sneaking around without us knowing, but he has been very impressed with their work. And we look, anyway, I look forward to working with those guys more because I learned so much. Steve McDonald, our turf pathologist, he's the single best turf pathologist in the country.
What is a turf pathologist?
Well, so we just study how how to grow grass at the highest possible level. We study how the water moves through the soil and what kind of, how much cultural practices you need to do to minimize the amount of organic material in the ground or increase the organic material in the ground for proper playing conditions or, it's interesting. He works at over 200+ golf courses throughout the country.
You gotta be able to deal with disease and fungus.
Disease,
Yeah.
fungus, yeah, absolutely. So what he does is we work with him to put together our programs. And I've mentioned this to you guys in the past, but we've cut, since I've been there, over 30% of our water usage, over 30% of our fertility usage, and over 30% of our plant protectants. If it's fungicides, insecticides, herbicide, all that stuff, we've been trying to cut it out as much as possible. All this stuff costs money, and all of it is too much fertilizer, too much water, needs to be more, you need more plant protectants, right? So it's kind of a snowball effect. It's really about treating your plant like an Olympic athlete, and he helps us do that, right? So, yeah, anyways, one of the best in the business. We have a great plan moving forward. So we have a sustainable golf course that is very much, I'm hoping to really put my feet up on the desk for the last 20 years of my career there, but we'll see. Paul Rosh, irrigation designer. I've never seen somebody so passionate about designing irrigation systems, but he's doing golf courses all around the world. Rich LeBar Renovations. These guys are incredible. This is all they do. All they do is golf course renovations. When people hear that we've acquired their services, they're very impressed because he is so sought after. He's right after our project. He's going down to Seminole to work in Florida on their renovation, where they're sand capping the entire golf course by 18 inches because of the water levels rising. So really impressive stuff that these guys do and projects that they're a part of. He's the reason why we're gonna be able to make that timeline. And then Jaeger Kovich, again, he's our golf nerd. He is the architect that I think is gonna make the place extremely special for our members. A special place, more special, I should say, for our members and their guests and like I said, great detail, maximizing around. And then Rogers McCagg and Avi Tucci are the guys working on the building. Rogers McCagg is and Avi Tucci, we just worked on with our pool renovation. So they're we've all worked with them. They've done great work on our property already. So it's turning out to be a very hopefully seamless project.
About the irrigation, are you planning to recycle any of the water? Oh, you already have a.
Yeah, so we recycle, so the recycling, when we wash equipment, correct, yes, but the irrigation water. We pull out of the pond, we have a water diversion permit, and during that last phase 1, we put in a wet well so we could use our water a little easier and also I like to call it clean city water, but dilute the city water. When we're growing grass at the 10th of an inch, it's such an infant that when we start using city water, it weakens the plant right away because the chlorine and the fluoride and all the different salts in that water binds to our nutrients in our soil, and then therefore the plant can't take it out. So being able to dilute our water with our pond waters is extra special as well. But recycling the water, basically everything we put out, but right in the soil, heads back to our streams, and we need to reuse it.
So how much water are you extracting from your well? And what is that used for?
We don't have a well,
Oh, you don't?
the wet well, the
Oh,
wet
the
well's
wet
being
well.
installed
Oh, I
actually
see.
next
Okay,
week.
got it, all right.
We'll be done with our dredging this week and then onto the wet well next week, but it's yet to be determined. I don't know exactly how much. We do have a water diversion permit we have to follow, and the totals on that, I want to say are 55,000 gallons. Okay, yeah, something.
Use more water than that.
Oh, we do use more water than that, yeah. But we are also trying to use the least amount possible. And that goes back to what I always said about these robots. All of our robotic mowers allow us more hand watering and fertilizing. You can always use less amendments when you're doing it more selectively. So again, during this drought, we've been hand watering our greens because I don't like to put the city water directly on them. So I put the city water through our hoses and then we wash it with the tablets. So it kind of takes some salts out of it, the chlorine and fluoride and stuff like that. So
Were these,
heating up city
were
water right
these
now.
originally man-made ponds?
We believe that the Army Corps kind of came in there and some of them were already somewhat established, but then they came in and made it much bigger. They drained the upper part of our property. This is I don't know what year it was. I think it was in the,
46.
yeah, 46.
Okay.
And they basically drained the upper part of our property down to the lower part of our property. And just so you can kind of.
Cause I know there's a waterway that goes through the northern part. I hike a lot. Northern part of your property, there's some open space and there's a brook or stream. Are these are some of these on the headwater for that or is that?
Yeah, we-
Certainly the stream on 5 is coming from offsite.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's feeding the pond.
Correct.
It's
Correct.
not the headwater.
Oh,
Okay.
we are definitely not the headwater for any of our water courses through there. For now, yeah.
Great.
Any questions, any? I don't know if you've noticed, but I could talk about this stuff for days.
Is there a reason why you didn't extend the driving range fence or net all the way down to the western side of the
Yeah.
driving range?
Yeah, there was just kind of there was really no need. The net is really kind of keep it out of the wood line and out of the, in that wood line, we have a lot of great wetlands in there.
Yeah,
And so hitting the balls in there we want to stop that behavior.
right.
And keep them out of there. The left side is basically, the new angle of the tee won't be hitting as far left, but also we'll have a nice tree, actually, I'm glad you mentioned that. The tree hedge, we created a hedge of trees, left of our driving range, we're moving about anywhere from 5 to 7 of these gigantic trees. So it looks like it's been there for 100 years, while we're doing this work as well. We'd rather have that natural border than a large net with.
Sure.
We feel like it's gonna be safe enough and for our membership, no big deal.
Nobody, is it a slice when you go to the left?
Well, if you're a left-handed golfer, it would be a slice over there.
So it's a fade if you're,
Yeah, well, it's a hook. If if you're right-handed, it's a, I wouldn't say Thurman Munson, but. No, it's yeah, you can't get left. You don't get left.
Yeah. so we're thinking not a lot of people get into the wetlands down here.
Yeah.
West.
Yeah, so yeah, and those areas, yeah, they're a little bit, when you see that habitat, that's just basically a meadow.
Okay.
And there is, yeah, it's very steep, so,
It is, okay.
yeah, we
Yeah, I
don't,
mean,
we
I
don't
can
have that
see
much
the-
issue over there.
Yeah, I can see the elevation here.
By the way, we are putting a very exciting little capital improvement during this is a automatic range picker. And that goes, picks up all the balls,
Like a
dumps
little
them in the
robot?
pit, yeah, dumps them into this pit, pit washes the balls, dries them, puts them in a container where our guys will pick them up, so. Oh, yeah, we're getting trying to get as automated
That
as
was
possible.
somebody's job.
No, it is. And we have other jobs for them to do.
That you aim for.
They'll be pulled-
Right,
By the way,
exactly,
yeah.
that's exactly right.
They can pull in basics, yeah, around property. No, we do have endless
Yeah,
jobs at this
yeah.
golf course, and I think that one of the
Just teasing.
biggest things in our club, I always tell them the essence of robotic mowers is not about cutting jobs, it's about doing work.
But I'm correct when I get the sense that the environment is kind of front in your planning.
I'm very excited for your movement, because yes, we've gone through some areas that I think just can be enhanced, be
Well, when we
better.
were there, I remember there was
Yeah.
a couple of places where you had signs and you were
Yeah.
talking about some of the environments, kind of examples of what people can see,
Yeah,
and I
yeah, it's exciting to get people
just
excited
wanted out
about
loud
it.
that to me,
Right.
that's what I sense is kind of your departure point.
Yes,
And I
yeah, he'll be highlighting those areas.
Before you go to, I was wondering, we got a letter or email late today. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it. It's from a neighbor of yours regarding the whole, you're renumbering a hole, hole 4 to 13 or 13 to 4 or something along those lines. Are you changing a hole?
Yeah, 6.
It's
6 is changing slightly.
I think, I'm talking about the renumbering of.
Yeah,
It's a renumbering of a hole. and
Okay,
then
sure,
there's a
sure.
Neighbor that's there, hired a environmental flow.
Your current hole 13.
Current hole 13. Next questions, and I'm just wondering if you had a chance to see that or not.
You
I
haven't seen
know
it.
they,
No, okay.
Today.
yeah, that's.
So this is from
But I,
Simpson Associates, their landscape architecture, environmental site planning for a Mr. Andrew Beal at 363 Coventry Lane. And they just,
Oh, yeah, he's probably.
they put some information here, and I'd like for you to kind of get this and talk about it. And if you can't today, that's fine.
You want a copy, Sarah?
I don't have a copy
Yeah.
with me, it came so late.
I know, well, we all got this late, that's why I was wondering.
But I
if you
think,
reached out to me.
Mr. Pollock is online, and I don't
Oh,
know
great.
if Bill is here.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I'd love to hear this.
He is here too, and you might have a copy with him.
that's fine, okay, I didn't think that'd be here, so. I wanted to let you know
Yeah,
that that's gonna be something.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bill, happy to. Great. Opinion.
Excuse me.
Oh, yeah, let me stop sharing.
Another copy of it. I'd like to. I'm sorry. What do you make it bring it out?
Pleasure to be here, pleasure to work with the club and Jason, and all the other consultants on this project. It is a very interesting and exciting property, and all the work that they do to have break off the bounds with the protection of the environment and the work that they've done to improve habitat. Really great. So what I'd like to do with you is just highlight some things with regard to existing and proposed conditions and how that relates to wetlands, and then talk about some of the planting that Jason and I work together. Quick review of the existing conditions north is from the west. You have Merwin lines on the bottom of the dominant units and Pop Island here and Banks North. You just do it up and do it. Oh, I believe. I think that neighbor. To the north, on the left side, yeah, to the north.
Oh, to the north.
Okay, yeah. So it's important to understand with regard to the wetlands that the club has a long north-south aligned ridge. And you have this hilltop that runs down the center of the club. And you end up with these two watercourse valleys, one on the east or the right, this is at the top of the page. And another one on the left on the west. So you have these two watercourses that come down through the course with the ponds that have been discussed, as well as some woodland wetlands and some meadow wetlands. And then those are the two primary watercourses on the top and water and watercourse in the other. On that ridge top, there's a couple of terraces where the ridge comes down and levels out a little bit and comes down a little bit. So those are those two pockets that you see in the north central area there, would be the western pocket there. And those areas connect down through some water courses to the west. They drain to the west to that stream and wetland system on the west side. And so we a little background there, and important things that have been discussed is the fact that obviously the golf course is there, and the work that's being proposed primarily it's within the same footprint of the golf course. And golf course having been built 80 years ago, some of these holes were built in the middle of and they were and done in such a way sometimes where there's still wetland soils there beneath the turf. So in order to make changes, we're going to be within some wetland areas to make some changes. I did look up the numbers, and the work within golf course wetland areas was about 2/10 of an acre, where basically keeping the grades the way they are, just reshaping the target green on the driving wetland areas and the area of the driving grade. So, part of grade one area, they might need to do it.
That work's gonna be done by hand, is the machine required, what kind of work you'll have to?
Some of it is, a lot of it is changing the turf and how it's maintained, both the grass as well. But some of it will be done with equipment, cut the side,
Okay.
pull off the side, the whole.
Yeah, the process I explained where again, the majority of it is that resurfacing type, that surface work I like to call, right? Where you just take the sod off and you reconstruct the area. All of the areas, expansions of fairways and things like that, just changing more heights.
But I'm concerned about if it's in a hole that's a wetland hole, and you're just dealing with the surface
Yeah.
level. You can go in there with an excavator. and pull it all out.
The target green is the only area, and again, that would be a sod cut and then build up and be
Okay.
done.
Can you explain the build?
So, during, that construction on the new hole, we'll be using some of the added material, from that area. Kind of lift it up a little bit so you can see it from the tee.
Will there be a big dumpster that rolls in and dumps the dirt? How is it gonna get?
Yeah, it would be the front dump machine, would create a little haul road. They would come in and dump the material, and excavator would be over there moving around,
that-
and then.
That would be an area of concern for us. A lot of the other stuff sounds fine,
Oh,
but
yeah, I think there.
I mean, to be quite honest with you, these architects are kind of free range, but that target green alone is not that big. It's not that big of a part of that project either. I would have to say there's probably about 20, I would have to say about 20 yards,
Okay.
it's not very much.
So I saw you have like
In my opinion.
6 or 7 other target greens, so
Yes,
if you didn't have that one, it would be the end.
it would not be the end of the world, correct?
The lawyer says that one can go.
Okay, so that, thank you, sir.
I mean, that's our
So-
primary.
Yeah.
focus, right?
Yeah,
I wanna.
I understand.
I want to just say that from the time that we, started this process, and we really appreciate what you're doing environmentally and all
Sure,
of
sure.
that stuff. But we still have overview and
Oh, I understand.
rules and things that we have to do with. And there have been other folks that have come behind before us. Well, I've been doing this on my wetland for decades.
Right, that's right.
Like, well, you can't do that. So, but so we want to know if there's any work done in a wetland area that's currently lawn.
Yeah.
We need to know a little bit more about. That's why
Sure,
stuff
sure.
that's happening outside of our purview and outside of the upland review area isn't as concerning, at least to me.
Right,
That's where we'd like you to focus.
Yep.
Okay, with greater detail.
okay.
Okay.
So the other place that looks like that might be the case is the current hole 15.
Sure.
I don't know if you could.
That fairway, yeah, so in 15 here, we have the fairway.
Six.
Yeah, proposed 6. Current 15. Again, so that whole area is basically wetlands. We have the fairway, nothing's happening there. We're not removing any sod or grass there. We have the approach height, the other side of the stream, so actually, you're on it right now.
Yeah, this.
You're on it right there, yep, 6.
Tees being, so the tees are outside of the wetlands are in green on your.
Correct.
And then you come down the other end and the green is outside.
Correct.
Any work on
And
that
so
fairway?
anywhere in the green there's no grass being removed, nothing, it's changing lower heights.
And you're not working on that fairway.
No, not at all.
No, to be completely transparent, almost every inch of the golf course is gonna be disturbed, including these areas with irrigation. Installation, right?
The irrigation will come through, so new irrigation line, main line would go near the cart path. And that would be trenched, it
Yeah,
basically.
I just wanna make sure that, that we
Total
all
transparency,
understand
right,
that you're
yes.
gonna, this is where those existing wetland areas when you read.
Yeah, you have a main line that would go in and then the
That
laterals
would be
across the
temporary
fairway.
disturbance.
Temporary disturbance a day.
So those are the things that are important to us.
Yeah, that makes
but
sense.
As long as they're made, I guess
Yeah.
that could work and managed properly, and that's what we're more concerned.
Yep. So these irrigation systems for these irrigation systems as they go through, they basically only disturb what they can put the sod back on that day. So if they, they'll cut out about X amount of linear feet, they just wanna make sure they have button up and sod it.
I just wanna make sure.
Yeah,
that
totally understand. That makes great sense. Appreciate it.
So they'll
Yeah.
actually lift the sod up and then run their trencher and then put the sod back.
Yeah, so they
Okay.
put plywood down around the trench, they sod cut it, they put sod on the plywood, trench it. Excavator usually because how many rocks we have here.
Right,
And then you put pipe in, fuse it together,
right.
put the soil back, put the sod back, and then you're done, and nothing's left open.
Right.
Irrigation, usually nothing's left open overnight.
Is it only soil or will there be aggregate and sand around the pipe?
No, we would be putting back the same materials
Same material,
minus the
okay.
rocks, because we have a rock clause, which,
Sure. Okay.
we separate the rocks, so you're not trying to,
So it's just traditional PVC pipe, 6 inches down and
Or these?
Currently, the new one's HDPE pipe, and this has been, this stuff
Longer lifespan.
much longer lifespan, 50+ years. We've had it in the ground since the 70s in Europe and still going.
Thank you, sorry.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I want to be as transparent as possible.
Can you mention that you're gonna take some of the like contaminated sand and pump it in the bottom of the irrigation
So,
trenches?
Yeah, so what I call contaminated sand is soil mixed with sand.
Sure,
It's-
but there
it's-
is more, is like, it's not just, I just wanna make sure.
Yeah, so what they'll do is when they do the deconstruction in the beginning, they'll take that pile of dirty sand and they'll put it in a pile. We would then, when drainage trenches go in, we can backfill that, use it for that. I guess if we're doing any power lines, when we're putting the buildings in, we might use that sand for that, because that will be to code. We're just talking about reusing materials that.
Yeah.
So instead of using pea gravel, I can use sand. It won't move as fast through that medium, but it will do its job plus some. And actually, it's, to me, I like it better.
Yeah.
Doesn't fry out the surface as fast.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bill, sorry, to interrupt.
So I talked about all of the activities. Yeah, that one project. So what we did was looking at a lot of the metal that is created over storage. Really have like plastic woodland metal habitat that maybe was here many years on us to ride. We're open woodland with meadow was adjacent, passing through these areas. And looking to just diversify that with more things to species. In the meadow habitat of plopping into and scattering in the different places. So we have 4 different drawings that show different areas where be adding in these plants. And drawings, so we'll go to the first one, number 2 in the top left of the corner of the drawing, which is the northeast corner of the property. And we do in this area. We're at the east face of this ridge that goes down through the center of the property. That's the base of that river. And they're gonna be reworking the trees that now that you don't have, that's just a pole. So it's getting from the northwest to the southeast. So from the bottom of the page to the top, across the wetlands on there. And there's a steep slope there, and in that area, we're putting hundreds of native shrubs, low-growing native shrubs to vegetable that slope. And 300 shrubs proposed, 3 different species. And then just it's very irregular or informal walking path. You don't want to take the cart path down to the wall. We just struggling with that. Which speed is that at, Bill?
H2.
And then
Just upland of that, the steepest part of that slope, which is south of the T, we're proposing a mix, probably 60%. Eastern red cedar and then throwing in some flowering. So that's all within an existing meadow area up in that. This right here, shrub plant getting right here.
These are leads. And it's great habitat. There's a bluebird box that always has a bluebird right there. Give a little more cover.
Around 18 trees in that. I think. If we go to drawing number 3, that's as you move down that watercourse to the south with the road. In the area we were talking about this hole earlier. And again, working on this east facing slope, we're adding back in flowering trees and juniper, eastern red cedar. To that slope, that meadow slope area.
It's just above the green and bunkers and fairway.
A quick question. Deer,
Here? Oh, boy.
but some of these plants are, the Irish blueberry are not really deer resistant. You gotta get any consideration.
Over in our meadow area?
I think you probably 150 Irish blueberry in most of it.
I was gonna say, throw a garlic down.
I'm thinking you should really, take a look at, I think most of the stuff is deer resistant, but blueberry, I think.
What do you currently do for deer deterrence?
We've had very good success with certain, but I have the shake, the beer shake, all natural product. Yeah, spearmint's great, there's spearmint in it.
It's not bad looking.
Yeah.
Not enough time in the world to treat the whole dog.
No, there is not, but we have selective areas, right. Yeah, anything we put on our golf course in the last 13 years has been native, any actual planting. When Clubhouse was done years ago, we had a bunch of plantings that were done, parking lot that were not native, and at that point, we said, no more of that, let's focus on native. Remove, we put back there, so we're trying to stick in that, but it is tough. And again, like I said, more robots, more hands I have. Keep selling the membership on that.
So as we move further down the water course, in there, and then we arrive at the driving range. We're gonna propose planting. And this will be on that drawing 4 then. And at the far end of the driving range of flowering dogwood trees, so. Red button. So we have the driving range is here. In that direction.
Not.
Yeah, you can see the wetland on the west there that is slowly, this is a seeping hillside
Yeah.
wetland. That ridge, groundwater seeping out of that ridge. And then we're go back to the central part of the course in that one of those central terrace areas that are, this area is pitching to the west. Down to the wetland water. Yeah, it's a terrace that where we're on. There's a woodland there, do that wetland being woodland with a meadow. So we're just looking to supplement. Most of the woodland is very common, red maples and oaks and things like that. And the understory flowering trees, dead flowering trees. Great habitats. Also, so beautiful.
Yeah.
We, for the most part, because of deer, we did mostly trees and meadows. There was one spot where we wanted to create this beautiful slope.
Consistency too. And we grew up in Greenfield Hill, and when you drive around up there, you just want to keep that feeling going, Yeah, very excited stuff.
Okay, so how many of the, on the driving range, how many of the target greens are in the wetlands? Is it just this
Just
one?
that one.
It's just that one. So this one
Well,
just,
Please draw next to it.
I'll let the architect know he lost.
Okay, that's an easy one.
Lawyer one.
I have good news for
Oh, you
Mr.
mean
Beal as
this
well.
was a something that came up in your discussions with
There
your
was a
clients?
discussion.
Oh, yeah, when we first saw that, we're like.
And no one followed my recommendation.
Until now.
Till now.
Put it up the flagpole, huh?
I'm gone.
There is some other interesting work being done here to be as sustainable as possible. Of course, is investing down on the bottom of the page here. You can see some notes about transplanting some trees, very mature shade trees that are mixed in with some white pine in this area. right in this area, they come up through here. But with the expansion of the driving range, the lower portion of these trees are, they're gonna invest in transplanting.
Monsters.
Is that that giant, there's like
We have
four of them in
100
the US, it's like a machine that comes
We-
down
we-
and.
Tree spade.
We have
Yeah,
a couple, we have a couple that are gonna be moved with 103 spades, but then we have other ones that are too big for that, so we're gonna be doing a different process. We take a trencher and you go around it and you kind of, you first kind of thin the roots and then you get around them, and then we have a dozer that will be on property that will slide them into place.
We're just gonna slide them to the west side.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty exciting, yeah, pretty neat
Are they
process.
deciduous? What are?
Yeah, those are maples, I wanna say.
Maples, yeah, I think one's a beech, no, and then the rest are meat, and the rest,
Beaches.
and the rest are maples.
Why do you wanna go to that effort?
They are tough, I'm nervous about the beech.
Why do you wanna go to that effort? and
Because
rather
because we
than just
could,
plant a tree?
yeah, we could plant, because $20,000 tree is gonna be a third the size. And it really won't look like it's been there, you know what I mean? It's gonna take years. I'll be gone by the time it looks like I want it to look, so. Or and I think our membership wants it to look, so it's gonna be great, and it's also gonna give us a quicker cover, a little more safety maybe, things of that nature.
Yeah, those trees act like a fence.
They do,
Like a wall.
It's dividing visually, but it's also, you know, when people do it, or when lefties slice it.
Yeah,
So
I
a
mean,
photo montage of the process might be.
I'd like to see it.
Oh, yeah, no,
Seriously, I'd like to see it photographed.
Yeah.
People, they are, they're trees and.
Yeah, we've been working with our communications team about how we're gonna really kind of do this and promote it and talk about the things we were talking about earlier with, you know, so getting people excited about some of the cool things that are going on here, not just the golf course architecture.
It's an opportunity for education.
That's right.
great golf balls. You can shoot it,
I,
right?
you know, wow.
Like, yeah, I mean, no one wants to look at a big net, but
No,
keeps it out of Long Island Sound, good thing.
that's right.
Nice.
Anything else from you,
Yeah.
William?
Okay.
Mr.
Right.
Chairman,
Yes,
I
Council.
very
Serious,
much
he doesn't
want to
work
say,
in-
No.
I'd like Mr.
No,
Kenny
definitely.
and Mr. Mearsman to go through this.
Sure.
12 items, one by one, and give it email source.
Yeah, it's great.
Basically, these are the concerns that we have, so.
Do you wanna go through that now, or do you want me to go through,
I'd like to do it now.
Patrick, can you tie that right back into the, when your responses and how it would impact or not impact the wetlands?
These changes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So can we pull it up?
Yeah, well, can you share that picture? You're right, yeah. Bill's house.
It's this corner.
Yeah, you're on it right there. Yeah, we have some, I think, exciting news for them. This is a part of the project that, when we were first looking at
You
it.
want to, you just want, in order to address the comment, maybe we should get the comment from the.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Council,
Oh,
I'm gonna,
yeah.
so it'll be a, I'm gonna go through people who are in support and opposition, whatever this might be, it'll be from them first. And then you'll have the opportunity
Makes
tonight
perfect
to,
sense.
to respond.
Gotcha.
So the applicant now has, finished their presentation.
Yeah.
What I will do now, is, ask for anybody that's here that'd like to come, in the room, that'd like to come up and speak in support of this application. Anybody who's here that, in the room, that'd like to come and speak in support of this application. Okay. Anybody online, that'd like to speak in support of this application. Anybody online that'd like to speak in support of that? Right, for now we go here, anybody who's here that'd like to speak in opposition to this application. I'll have, you're the closest, why don't you come up, if you guys wouldn't mind, just for 2 minutes.
Yeah, please.
And come on up, state your name and address. And let us know what the thoughts are.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kevin Burke. I live at 2425 Merwin's Lane. It's big, my house, right across from the location. I will start off by saying I'm disappointed that our property doesn't show up anywhere on these plans. Because if it did, I think people within the town would realize that we would have a problem with certain aspects of what's going on. I unfortunately don't share the enthusiasm of one of the presenters because I don't look fondly about what's going on with this gate in the northwest, which we're literally right across. We've had a run-in with the golf course maybe 15 years ago, and they were gonna put that concrete pillbox laboratory literally right across from my farm. I came and I commented, I met with John Fallon, who was great. We met on site. And it was an easy solution. I was like, John, just move it 200 yards down the road, across the street from the emergency exit of the bridge, of which I'm a member. Nobody's gonna complain. He was good with it. I came in and supported the plan after he agreed to that. Everything was great. Now, my wife and I built this house in 1991. We've been around for 33 years. Over the past 5 years, it has become a nightmare living across from the golf course and this gate. For the past 4 or 5 years, it's been a dump. If you go up there today, it's a dump. There's maybe 100 cubic yards of spoils. That's just sitting there that I look at every time I drive out of my multi-million-dollar house. They had a 3-story rack that they're piling used water pipes on that I had to look at for weeks.
Is this stuff in a wetland?
Well, that whole area is kind of wet. If you look at slide 13, it's a very northwest corner where they.
So just to make sure we understand,
Sure.
so you're across Merwin's Lane, right near the eastern gate of the ridge? Eastern gate that nobody ever uses.
That's right,
Yeah,
that's emergency egress.
Right.
That's correct.
Okay.
I am literally, if you look at the gate print there, I'm literally, my driveway's about
Right.
10-foot offset from their gate. So for the past 5 years, I mean, we have put up with it. Even just this project, there've been about 50 tractor trailer loads of equipment, material running in and out. I had to delay 2 oil deliveries because it couldn't swing to get into my 15-foot wide driveway. My driveway is probably wider than Merwin's Lane, right? But it's these proposals where they want to turn this into a new area where they're just gonna leave piles of fill here, there, and everywhere. When they have other areas they can do it. They can do it in their maintenance shed, which is set back from the road. I doubt that it bothers anybody on North Banks Road. If the gentleman is looking for a place to asphalt so that he can put his expensive sand down, I got a better place. He's got a parking lot next door to his tile tennis courts. It's unpaved. Pave 5,000 square feet and put the sand there. Don't put it in front of my house.
So I don't mean to interrupt you, but
That's okay.
our jurisdiction is wetlands only.
Okay,
So unless these areas that you have raised are in wetlands, we have no jurisdiction over.
my property.
However, I will state that this looks like a great opportunity for you guys to make your neighbors happy and more comfortable. Because you're making a lot of material around anyway, so maybe that's something you can engage in a conversation with these gentlemen, and it can be part of what they're doing. We just don't have any jurisdiction,
right.
but this sounds like a
This,
great
this
opportunity.
is the first notice that we've gotten as to what we're doing. I do have a wetland. The area is wetlands. Half my property is wetlands, right? The long part of my property is obviously not wetland. The trees from my property, from my driveway down to the ridge gate is also my property, and that is 75% wetlands. So if you look at the plan, they have a stormwater detention area right across from my driveway. And my property that's wooded is 3 or 4 feet lower in elevation than my other half of my house. So then the concern is that they're discharging water into the ground, right, to recharge the aquifer. My concern is that it's only gonna travel to my property that's 4 feet lower and create a swamp. It'd be so much easier for them, again, because there's a half a mile between me and the Donnelly's property on the map, to move that detention facilities down the road where it doesn't bother.
So if I recall, I haven't been down that way or up that way in a while, but your house is on a higher elevation than the bottom of the slab, right?
Yes, it's on an old, an elevation 5 feet higher than the
Right.
driveway.
And so you're concerned that the stormwater detention will bring water to the bottom of your driveway?
Well, also to my basement. I mean, I have a full basement, right? So what you see above ground goes 10 feet deep.
Okay.
And I know that we have water, when we built the house. They put perforated pipe in gravel underneath the slab for, radon. Okay? When it rains hard, we're on stone, so the water falls on my neighbor who's uphill from us, follows the ledge. And if you take the inspection cap off, you can actually see the water rise up right underneath my floor, concrete floor. It doesn't, we don't have a wet face, but the water's right there. So now we have this tension, the stormwater detention that's going to be discharging more water concentrated in that area. And I'm afraid that that's going to push more water higher up into this. So that's the environmental issue.
Okay, so let's take that. Okay, well, that's good information for us to have. That was, for us at least,
Right.
Water.
Can I just ask
Sure.
you for the record, take one of these maps and point where you
Sure.
take.
Yeah, I think that.
I know
Just
where
for
you're
the
trying to get
record,
to the
yeah,
record.
for the record.
Yeah.
You could,
So,
so that everybody can see.
And then I've got a neighbor right.
I'm gonna go down to town hall.
Yeah, I mean, we have a conservation easement on our property, half of our property.
could you just start your last name, please?
Sure, Kirk, it's easy. B-U-R-K.
Thank you.
It's okay.
All right. Well, thank you for that information.
You bet.
Very
Who do I talk to about, other than the, here, about turning that area into a storage area?
I think that's gonna be your most effective communication is directly
Do
with
that, yeah.
the judge.
I'm not sure if there's like an approval to this application. I think there might be a last one. That's not fine.
This is the first I've heard about any of these.
It's just starting now. Just with the.
Okay.
The time where we-
Thank
you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And anybody else who's here, yes, please, give us your name and address, please.
Yeah, my name is Andrew Beal. I live at 360 Lane.
Thank you.
I am happy and appreciate that any time of this tonight. I'd also like to say that I have lived in Crossing County since I have bought the property with the county and I've lived there for the last 10 years. I actually found that, as far as I'm concerned, they are good neighbors. I don't want this to look like anything other than what it is, which I'm a little worried about what's gonna transpire. I'm sure the expertise shines, but if you look at the property, it's on the north end.
Yeah.
And essentially, a couple of things that I'm more worried about. The old park path is on the other side of the fairway. So down the middle of the fairway is a 100-yard variance against what you see as the wetlands on their property. And it abuts my property as well. So that, from what I can tell, the creation, they're moving, I think, the woman's TV from its old state to a different space. That's right, I want to spoke about it, if that's the case. But when I looked at it, it does appear that there'll be a fair number of, one thing I wanted them to affirm or whatever, I think there's a fair number of trees that don't show up on these maps.
And there's somewhere, I don't know, I'm not a scientist, I asked somebody else to tell me that. But it looks like we have 10, 15, 50 plus maples come down that goes through. So, that, I'm just wondering, if there's, and I'm happy to talk with the gentleman.
Sure, well,
with you.
That's the whole point of you being here, so letting us know about this, and they will be coming back up here, we'll ask them questions about,
And that was one of the
That-
questions I was gonna ask another way.
Yeah.
How many trees are coming out? What species are they?
Yeah, and this is up to you guys, I'll figure it out. There is a waterway there, so it doesn't look like you could have been there, but it's just a waterway. As part of my operations, we tell you about it in here. There's a wetlands thing up here, State Lane, that's on my property. They then, that one's really,
it's marked on the map.
Yeah.
It's marked as a
Yeah.
wetland, right, all
Okay.
along, what seems to be, I guess, your property, it goes right up.
And you're
right
saying,
up.
but the wetland becomes a water course.
yes, so then becomes the water towards, and then goes to the bottom of the hill and becomes the wetland again. But
Right.
wetland on top and bottom of the property, the water towards,
That's helpful.
just outside.
Yeah.
So, listen, I love golf, I'd be excited about it too. I just want to make sure that, I don't know what the impact on the trees is, and I also, guy has a better read than I do, and asking questions, worrying like, I don't know what it's supposed to look like. And so that's really something that's our spot falling power. So I don't know, so what it's been about place, I'm sure it's going to provide a ton of stuff they can, I'm just looking a little bit for assurance, but also, I don't think it's necessary to reach that that level. Not saying it doesn't. So size, points, it's and you can say, so it's just issues like that.
Appreciate it.
I think it'd be in good faith. So,
We have the letter for, part of our file,
right,
you also gave it to them, so they will be able to look at it. But, now that you gave your testimony, it's something we will address with them.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, anybody else here in the room that would like to come up and speak to that petition? Anybody else online that was speaking opposition? All right, I guess the applicant can come back if he'd like to respond. All right.
All right. Yeah. I have extremely good news from Mr. Beal.
It's true.
Nice to meet you. Neighbor, so we have great news and I wanted to say that, this work that was proposed in this plan, this is the one thing.
I'll get it on the screen so we can read it.
Okay, yeah.
Please.
And I'm gonna just pull up what you guys have. We're looking at,
Yeah. Okay, that's.
yeah, what we're looking at here.
It's part of it.
So we don't only share wetlands, we share a Tennessee gas line. We share, that gets mowed down every so often. We have, right there where Coventry comes in, there's a grate, it spits water out. And then there's, a ditch that goes down right where that cart path, near that cart path, I should say. That goes down, that was created by the Army Corps that would drain that upper part and it goes next to the tee box. You see my cursor here? Yeah, it goes next to this tee box and then it goes down into this water course.
To the pond.
It's just it's kind of a ditch. We originally wanted to take this cart path and turn it right in front of our tee box, running up the hill. Because we've been turning around in this turnaround, going back, going into play. It was kind of dangerous for members. We have since removed this path that we have on this plan from our plan. And I'm sorry it's still on there. It was kind of, the plans were already submitted. We went through this work, we looked at it. He's right, we would have had to pipe off that ditch. We would have had to add asphalt in there and we would have had to cut down a number of trees. We've since said, let's not do that work, not value, we'll just do what we've been doing forever, which is go down, turn around and come back. So I have good news that this path is completely not being built. This tee box, because of the, this tee box, I don't know if the architect needs that as much, we can always slide it over here kind of where it is. Or leave it where it is, we could kind of restructure where it's not in the wetlands buffer there. So we can, again, and I apologize, this is on the plan because it's not happening, and I'm sorry you had to waste so much time going through all of it and for the.
No, you couldn't have said anything I would have enjoyed anymore. Thank you very much.
Things are coming down or they're dead dying, and then if they're gonna fall on somebody's head, but we're pretty good over there.
That's great. That's great to hear.
So that is a great one. We got to get this squash that one really quick. Now, I want to walk over here. The other gentleman who, I think he left.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about this right here, the area we'd like to asphalt. He's referring to a pile of spoils that are over here. This is where our pits are for our dredging. This is the only spot on our property we're really gonna put it on that part of the property. We had a haul road, a plastic haul road that held all these giant pieces of equipment, so we wouldn't disturb the ground. We spent a lot of money on this haul road to make sure we were as prudent to the ground, surface water, the drainage, all this stuff, to make sure we were doing as good of a job as possible to get that material from our ponds over this area, put it into spoil pits. They're already dewatering as we speak. They've already sunk quite a bit. Those areas will be cleaned up. And my goal is to clean up and organize this area and make it a place where, yes, we do get loads in there from time to time. It's not in the wetlands. It's not in the setback. And on top of that, his property is above our property. It is at a higher elevation. The water retention here, to me, please, if we don't need water retention, let that grass eat it up. We have plenty of surface area that will eat up water on our golf course. But at the same time, it's not going up the hill towards his property. His property has been, his home has been, it's under auction right now. I really don't know much of it.
So
It's
I'd like for you to,
No,
sorry.
I'm gonna, yeah.
Oh, no, I'm
So
just saying.
both keys went down a road that.
Yeah.
You
I'm
brought
not
them
trying to
back
go down
in,
the road.
and so all of, we need to hear wetland and wetland related items and issues.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're gonna talk
Good,
about
good,
if it's
good.
above ground, his grade is higher than
Yes,
yours.
it is higher.
And it's gonna be difficult for water to get up there or something along those
Yeah, good.
lines. Feel free to tell us that. If he's
Yeah, I have no issues other than,
walking with the bathrobe to get his newspaper in the morning, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
The good thing I would point out is this application has to go to zoning.
It does.
And then even
Going
better,
to P and Z
so.
for a special
You can
exception,
handle that.
plenty of opportunity for those kinds of issues. to
Very
be
good.
addressed.
So
Not
that'll
this.
that'll go to a different focus group. But going back to what you mentioned previously about the two lots. That is now right on a wetlands area. You said it would be very easy to move it to the right.
No, this is.
The current box is right where my cursor is here.
Yeah.
That's the current box. The architect wanted to move it over here, so the forward tee had a better angle on the golf hole.
So where's it going
Again.
now?
He wanted to move it over here, but again, if the car path's not shifting over there, it doesn't make sense to shift
Okay,
it.
so I
So
know
we're
the
fine where
plans-
we are.
I know the plans need to be updated, but.
Yeah,
They
we'll
were
we'll
updated,
clean that up.
right.
Yeah.
So that's
I'm concerned
outside.
would be a condition.
Good, that would be great if they were updated.
How many
You can
trees
have them, Lynn.
on the whole project are being removed?
From this point forward, we're not trying to do any more tree removal.
Okay.
We're done. We have a bunch of dead ash trees on property that fall down all the time. We had that crazy wind the other day. Those things happen. We clean those up. We had some dangerous cherry trees on the Audubon's horse farm and our ninth hole that had to come down. But we're trying to be done with tree work on this property.
Right.
You know, the idea in our master plan was to get the scissors out and the shovels, right? Finish the tree work that has to be done. That's dead, dying, disease, or it affects our growing environments. We've done that. And then the shovels, that means the dredging. We've done that as well. We're ready to get this done, and hopefully we can be the best neighbor possible. Keep it quiet. We got 20 years and no heavy lifting out there.
Very good.
That's the goal.
Bill, were you ever able to quantify those two disturbance areas, wetlands, and upland review area?
The upland review area with
The upland review and within the wetland.
within the wetlands was the 0.2.
The point two was the,
Yes.
the green that you were removing, so yeah.
Yeah.
And then the upland review, do you have any idea?
The upland review starts to add up. There's 20 or more little pockets here, there, and the other, and each one of those is around 2,000 square feet on average.
Over an acre.
Yeah.
I just, for the record, just trying to get a, so, and how big is the total golf course?
165 acres.
And how much is it?
I don't know. It's 35 quarters.
Yeah, and all of these areas, we're gonna try to keep them small, obviously. Every square foot's more dollars for the club, you know, so I've drawn out these lines, we understand what we have to protect. I'm sure the wetlands are protected. Anyway.
Very good. All right, well,
I have nothing further, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much
Thank
for your
you, Tom.
comment.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. If you guys want to propose, if you want to continue it, we can. If you want to close it, we can close it. I don't know if there's any more data that we might do.
I think that me personally speaking, that's all. I originally had thought maybe I would do their presentation and then I would go back and look at the plans a little bit further, but I feel comfortable.
I think that they have from day one. Great intention and with a good husbandry, if you will, of the land. I don't think they've ever, done anything that's,
I'll make that motion.
Okay, so we have just, yeah.
We can close it, recommendations.
Just close it.
Let's just close it.
We have 65 days, you know, but we're just closing it so there won't be any more.
Public hearing.
Yeah, no more public hearing, input of information. So, okay, so we move on. To, no application for receipt.
No, wait,
No,
vote on the motion.
Oh, really? We didn't vote on that. Oh, I thought we did. Oh, we just closed. Okay. So we have to vote on it. Commissioner Fain's motion and Commissioner Collins seconds it. All in favor to close the public hearing? And that's, all over. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you for putting them on. All right. So no applications for receipt. Okay. Now we're going on to, applications for discussion. Item 1 WP 25-0018, Anon 45. At 40, parcel 410, construction of a new two-story, two-family dwelling with driveway and drainage and associated bedroom and regular area. The last day for a public hearing is April 11th, 2025. Last regular meeting prior is April 2nd, 2025. The staff recommends approval with condition. And sure for that.
Let me go with.
Sure. Hey, come on up and give us your name and address.
Section on. Have you done?
Address of 125 Elizabeth Drive.
See ya.
Basically, I'm going to.
So, yeah, you're gonna, it's your application, right? Yeah.
Basically, we purchased this lot and we split into half. And building two duplexes on each lot and 145 as an upland review area in the back. And we have shown that the plat was submitted and based on staff recommendation, we planted a living on a tree or planting and also boulders there so that area will be preserved.
Right, so you spoke to staff and you were comfortable with what they recommended and you were.
Yeah, we're gonna exercise that.
Including the boulders.
We're doing the boulder and everything,
All right.
which we submitted on the plan.
There might be a commissioner or here, would you be willing to put a little stamp or something on the boulders that say it's a wetland area? If that would be a thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Victor, is there any questions on this plan?
Have you revised your stormwater retention plan? I just noticed that as one of the,
Conditions.
recommendations.
I didn't get the recommendation, letter, but I can definitely do it.
So-
Yeah, I didn't
so there-
review this one, but let me just read it.
We have certain regulations that you have to comply with, so whoever did your stormwater calculations,
Yes,
there's gotta be a certain formula.
okay.
And as long as you update it, that things that need to be done.
Sure, definitely.
You know, I think that's something that can be done.
Yeah.
You know, it's
To make
not
a
a-
condition.
just give it to the staff. you
Yes,
know.
I'll definitely, I'll look at whatever needs to be updated and we'll update it accordingly.
We were looking for a project.
Yeah.
So I guess
So that you would question why this is the most expeditious choice.
but there's no impact to wetland, right?
Right, I
Right.
think that if there's
So
no
there's no impact
impact,
to wetlands, then
we don't need
We
a,
don't need it.
How does that look?
Yeah.
There's no impact, no.
Right.
And that I know. Because our plan review is all the way in the back, we're not even going to buildings and.
Anywhere near it.
Before,
I
we're
remember,
not-
yeah,
we're
we're
not-
not there, yeah. So for me, just do that, the stormwater, 2-year calculations and you talk to staff, at least that. I don't mind if anybody else has any questions, they'd like to ask the applicant. If not,
I would like to,
yeah,
make a request. Since you are adjacent to some town-owned some town-owned land and, land has been preserved for wildlife. I worry about lighting for new properties that are going up, and I would appreciate if you would voluntarily adhere to these recommendations for lighting. Because five recommendations as to the appropriate level of light to protect the pollinators and the birds that are migrating at night.
Okay.
So it means, no spotlights on all night long, have a motion detector.
Okay.
Don't use too much light, you have to keep the light at a lower level. And just to protect the wild areas next to the house, just being respectful. I think we're next to a wildlife protected.
We put in motion and we lights down so nothing shines on there.
That's really all it is. Pretty simple.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. All right. Great.
Motion?
Yeah.
There's a motion that we approve with that.
Okay, there's Commissioner Fain has a motion to approve with the chat. And I just, Commissioner Fain, that motion also include, with the updating of the stormwater.
I think the staff.
Has that, okay, then,
But you want the medallion?
with the medallion,
Yes.
at least on one of the boulders. Yeah, all right, so we have Commissioner Fain and, Commissioner Boucher seconded, all in favor? Aye, all around, very good. That's all right, so now we're moving on to, thank you, good luck. Thanks a lot. All right. Number 2, modification request for WP 22-151, WP 25 0019. 4480 Black Rock, 4480 Black Rock Turnpike, map 116, parcel 33. Request for modification of permit WP 22-161 from a 1 building to 2 buildings and associated drainage and site work modifications of the regulated area. The staff recommends approval to review the application as a modification and favors for departmental review. I'm just gonna make a comment or statement now on what this is. This is a modification of a permit that was approved by this. Yeah, it was done in it says WP 22, so that was a few years back. And you provided information then, or the applicant provided information then, we reviewed it. There was a public hearing. I know we went out there, sidewalk, we did all of that then. And at that time, it was doing the old stuff as one big square building instead. And after you went from us, you went to other boards in the town and did other things, is that correct?
Not quite yet, no, that's actually.
That's next, okay. So what happened in those 2 years, if you will, is you decided to change the design. Is that what it is? Okay. So, but with those changes, it's just to modify a permit that's already existing. And based on what I've seen, and you're gonna tell us that the information you're gonna give us shows that this is an even less impact on the wetlands and watercourses in that area. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so it's not a public hearing. This is an applicant who's coming here to seek a modification of an existing permit. So there's no discussion tonight from the public. I just want to be clear about that. It's not a public hearing. That is the only time when the public can have a discussion. We did receive letters and emails. Staff have it and they put it up into the cloud. So we are aware of that. We've seen that. We've read it. I have. But if anybody's here from the public that is gonna attempt to speak, I'm not gonna allow that because this isn't a public hearing. The applicant is here to give us information, whether it's scientific or whatever. It's appropriate information for us to review, to determine if this modification would be appropriate.
And just to add to that, if this modification is denied, the original application still stands. This isn't an all or nothing.
Thank you, sir. Please name and information and all that. Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Aiden Howard. I'm a professional engineer licensed in the state of Connecticut with Casitas Engineering. We're based here in Fairfield. And I'm here on behalf of the owner, Brady BlackRock LLC, just to go over a little bit about this project, what's changed in relation to your wetlands and overall the site altogether. So just a little background on this property. The hatched area that you see in green, the smaller of the darker green, that's the actual wetland, which is kind of in relation to a brook that runs through the property. It runs right through here, and then down across the street through a culvert. Or excuse me, actually, it comes from the culvert and then goes down here. There's a reservoir up to the northeast after a few properties over where it all experiences. The green, the lighter green hatched area is the conservation easement for the property. That's it's not the upland review area, it's a conservation action easement that was established many years ago. The upland review area is this orange hatched area that comes through here. And as you can see, there's a little bit of activity that comes through as well as portions of the driveway and a small portion of the resident right over here. Just to go into the previous approvals, what you see in red outlined was the original building, the U-shaped block building with 3 floors of parking garages and a pretty significant grading scheme around to accommodate up to 150 total development or 150 total units in the development. This was approved back in July 13th of 2022 at your previous hearings. And what the area that I want to draw your attention is right down here. This is the area in the upland review area that used to be building that, as you can see now, it has been significantly reduced. Inside the upland review area, we went from 3,350 square feet of existing impervious under the prior approvals to now 2,800, a reduction of 550. With a 1,500 square foot total reduction of all disturbance inside the upland review area. Although the building has changed in that we are now doing 2 separate buildings with a common drive coming through the middle, the drainage scope hasn't really changed all that much, and that we're still using conventional subsurface drainage galleries, as well as a very significant rain garden down right here below where the conservation easement is. Prior to the conservation easement, but it's all accounted for as draining into the wetlands. This is the breakdown of all of our drainage systems. There's 2 subsurface drainage systems here to collect the building for this particular building. And this system collects the building on the left. The rain garden, because the biggest concern with pollutants comes from the driveway area. The rain garden is designed to collect the entirety of the driveway as much as possible through all the catch basins on the property. And it detains in just the biossoil and its storage above the overflow elevation. We take 71% of the total water quality volume for the driveway area and the entirety of the groundwater recharge volume. Underneath that rain garden, there's a complete
There's a set of 24-inch high concrete galleries as well to provide additional storage to ensure that even if it does reach that overflow elevation, prior to discharge to the wetland, it gets into those galleries. And the entirety of the water quality order is then contained, as well as mitigation for the 2 to 100 year storm events. These two magenta hatched areas are level spreaders. This one here is to collect all the overflow from the drainage system back over here to continue to direct it in its natural historic flow path, which is into the wetlands area, instead of diverting it over the access way to this side of the property. This level spreader here is to collect any potential groundwater that might become a factor in either of the building construction. But one thing we have, we've done 5 soil borings through here, and we have not hit any ledge. It's been all sand, and there's been very, very dry soil. Negative moisture, no indication that there's any water through the state. That's probably due to the significant slope, the west side to the east side of the property, where they almost 100 foot, or excuse me, 50 something foot drop in our activity area. And just to go through a couple of erosion controls, this big red dashed line around the outside of the property, or along the perimeter of the activity, is a silt fence with anything that would potentially drain directly into the wetlands from here all the way down through to the proposed driveway. All this is going to be a super silt fence, so it's going to be a silt fence back with a cage, like a chain fence. So this way it ensures that it's going to stay up even under significant storm events. To mitigate any further impacts from sedimentation, the rain garden area is going to be acted as a sediment basin. There'll be another sediment basin on the other side of the property, which is a minimum of 3 feet deep, is 5 feet wide. It's actually, in actuality, it's a lot larger in certain areas. What that is to do is to trap any sediment that might make its way down the property, stop it there, and it gives it an opportunity to be dredged out. So over an overflow berm, only mostly clean water will be coming off the property and discharged through the silt fence. That's going to be monitored monthly and prior to any significant storm events, which was part of the conditional approval from the original application. And one last thing I want to mention is the magenta area that you see all throughout the property. That's anywhere that's been graded or touched from the slopes. Once those slopes are roughly stabilized, they'll be further stabilized with straw netting and then planted with pachysandra or some other form of ground cover in order to ensure that that does not erode away over time. It's a single certain long term. In addition to everything that was done, we've also got a significant planting plan provided by Environmental Land Services, which I believe some of you are looking at right now. That produces, that was not part of the original application, but it's supplemental in this, now that we know we are going forward with a little bit further into this development. And the last thing I'd like to mention is that there's also an inclusion to that landscaping plan. We've spoken with Jim McManus, the wetlands consultant from the original, and in general, his report stayed mostly the same. We didn't have any modification to the report because everything has been kept the same. The super silt fencing was his recommendation, and we've done storm channel protection by mitigating the 10-year post-development storm rate to the 2-year pre-development storm rate for all the watersheds on the property that were manipulated. And I'd be more than happy to answer any questions should you have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions?
Comment, I guess. You had mentioned that in the area that you would try to kind of hold steady with your netting, and I would just ask that you not plant pachysandra, that you would consider a native ground cover or not something that could be potentially.
That's absolutely something we consider.
Thank you.
I saw your eyes jump too.
Pachysandra.
I say pachysandra. It's the most common to
Sedge.
people's minds, but yeah, it's a general ground cover.
Sadly, I didn't.
So I'd like to thank you for the planting plan and also the light plan, which is a pleasure for me to see. One suggestion on the planting plan, you've got several hydrangea identified. Could you replace them with smooth hydrangea or oak leaf hydrangea, which are both native? Because most hydrangea are not native if they're colored.
So basically to ensure that a native hydrangea is.
Right, it's white, they're white as opposed to colored flowers.
I think that's something to be about.
Are there any additional trees that would be saved with this modification or taken down with this modification?
No, unfortunately, the trees that we're going to take down in the original application would probably still come down.
Okay.
There is some opportunity I'm sorry.
Any additional trees?
No additional trees, yeah, there is potential that we could save some of these in this area here, I'm trying to highlight.
Yeah.
Right at the southeast corner of the building on the right.
Yep.
Because we don't have to disturb as you saw there was. That's the area
Right.
through here, but unfortunately, until we really get to the site and see, or all that area is kind of cleared and we left without. You don't propose any grading there, but depending on the condition of those trees, they may.
Just curious. It's really not relevant, but I'm curious, why two buildings make it a more expensive project?
Believe it or not, just because there's a couple different factors that went into it, but ultimately it was a matter of the disturbance that we would have to do just to get those two buildings. By being able to do the two buildings instead of one, we're able to eliminate an entire floor of that garage, which would stop us having to go another 15 feet deeper in the soil, which we were already going pretty deep on that left-hand side, the west side of the property. By doing this, we can actually stagger the buildings, so the buildings are set so that the bottom garage floor of the left building is about level with the second garage floor. So it allows us to kind of flow with.
It reduces the amount of disturbance.
Correct.
Yeah, and you probably don't have to go to the ledge then,
Again,
maybe.
to my complete surprise, we did not hit any ledge going.
Yeah, but we have to let the small sand and gravel.
I was astonished when I saw that.
That's probably what is being done.
If it was ledge, yeah, it would probably be a very different project.
Yeah. Well, we learned that from the street, they don't.
All right, any further questions from anyone? All right, so,
So another question, and you would make a recommendation that we.
we're voting to allow it to go to staff level for review and for them to do it.
That would be.
Yeah.
Remind me one more time, I know that driveway is super steep. Is that an asphalt driveway?
Yes, that would probably be an asphalt project. It's not as steep as it seems. It's about at 50%, which, yeah.
I'm driving by it, it's pretty steep.
Yeah, there's gonna be a pretty significant modification there, which, one of the items that we discussed with P and Z was, creating a staging area during construction to make sure that as the business goes through the staging plan that we put in place on the fence.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask, you're gonna phase each building?
Yeah, I believe, I don't have it on here, but I know it is in your packets on one of the sheets. There is a staging plan for movement of activities to ensure that.
No, what I meant is now that it's.
Oh, yeah, I believe, yes, yeah, as we're constructing one wall, we're moving the material. We use the material from one side to level the other, and then kind of go back.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Yeah, I make a motion that we, I request to let it go for staff for further.
Anybody here second that?
Yeah.
Okay, so Commissioner Boucher, Commissioner Singer, all in favor? Okay.
You would vote no.
You're gonna vote no?
No.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, but it still passes or carries. Huh?
Me and Jay.
Yeah. Number,
And then just to be, I just want to make sure that I'm clear, it's so staff would review the plan and if there's any changes.
Yeah.
Could I ask a question? Isn't part of your review to say you're authorized to go to a public hearing?
because
For BlackRock?
for BlackRock to go to a public hearing?
I already have it.
The public hearing already happened and the information
No,
that.
no, I mean now to the planning and zoning. Oh, public hearing.
I don't know if the planning and zoning is, we're not planning and zoning, they're gonna go there after.
Yeah, so
We
it's
don't do that.
completely
It's a
different process.
board.
You have to approve it first.
It's already been
It's
approved.
already been approved, yeah.
They're just making these modifications, which, when we looked at, personally, when I looked at the paperwork that was provided.
Yeah.
It's less of a burden than what was presented, so it wouldn't be any issue for us. You're just gonna be, the staff will review it, make it, appropriate. And once it's done, they're gonna move on to their development stage to go to zoning and do what they have to do there.
And that would be your.
Yeah, that would be a good opportunity for you to discuss what, whatever zoning is. So,
Our only purview is the wetlands. Yeah. The impact on the.
This is 500 square feet less.
All right, moving on to number 3, under Roman numeral 7. It's third floor viewing request, 1040 Old Palm Road, map 246, parcel 47. Construction of a barn with ADU and office, 4 paddock, driving ring, gravel driving extension, installation of drainage systems, and regrading within a roadway area.
That's nice.
So,
It's a riding ring, not a riding rink.
oh, riding ring.
Who built this out for you?
Well, the horses are on skates.
They're on ice skates.
Horses skate well.
I'm Kathy Walsh, with the City of Four Parks Lane in Westport, Connecticut, and we're representing the owner of 1040 Farm Road. We have the plans for you, all of the proposed building. It's going to be well beyond the 100-foot line. There is all those items plus the driveway. We are doing an extension on the driveway, which will be a gravel driveway, and that driveway will come off of the existing driveway and will go in front of the farm. The paddocks are going to be grass, so we'll be horizontal, and those will be between 20 and 60 feet beyond the 100-foot line. The riding right? It's actually going to be rectangular, and it will be sand, and will just be it'll be a fence, and that's it. There will be some excavation in the front where the rock is. I'm sure you all know this property, and that's huge lovely rock. There will be a little bit of regrading because we don't want to put up the stanchions and just do some jumping area. But there will be absolutely no disturbance of the wetlands at all. Everything is well above.
What is, do you know what the bedding and manure plan is?
Yeah, I do. It's a little bit in flux, but the bottom line is that they're going to have containers, going to be a 20-foot container that it will be going into. It will be placed either at the end of the driveway, or he's even thinking about putting it inside one of the garages. It's going to be on the container will be on
Right.
and it will be covered.
And the container's a dumpster?
It's gonna be a dumpster.
A dumpster,
And
yeah.
they're gonna take it out twice a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, and it's gonna be on the opposite side of where the wetlands are.
Right,
So,
right, okay. So it's gonna be on the other side of the ring.
right. It's gonna be between the ring and the village.
Right,
Barn.
yes.
And there.
And the footing is pure sand, not sand and fiber? You know?
I don't know.
Okay.
They probably say,
I'm a horse.
yeah, they probably have to do the fire, otherwise it's.
Well, yeah, it's dusty and it's like that, got all of our little people here. We don't know what it's like. That's why I was asking, because some footing has fibrous material.
Because it,
The owner of this property.
because it is just outside and.
His horses are going to be there a few months a year, and then they go to, he's doing this whole project.
Not
So-
really coming to.
I'll mention this to him, and I'm sure.
Yeah.
Tell him I wanna come over.
I'm sure.
Understand it's almost not right.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
I am just concerned because I very, very unfortunately, maybe too familiar with the property next door to your.
I'm sorry.
I'm very familiar with the property next door. Which, and the wetlands that are shared between those two properties
Oh, yeah.
have been an issue for this commission for as long as I've lived here, which is 20 years. And so I'm very concerned and sensitive because that the neighboring property has not done a lot to maintain or be a good steward to the wetlands on his property. And so it's really shifted that water course a lot. It's had a negative impact on the wetlands there. There's also an old dam, an old concrete dam
Where they.
right on the property line. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of fell into some disrepair. Anyway, it's just I'm just putting it out there that.
And Sarah, can you please just explain what you were telling us regarding the situation
Oh,
for the record?
for the record, so the reason this is here for a declaratory ruling request is not something that normally would have come before you in terms of an inland wetland permit, but we probably would have reviewed it for the administrative level certificate of wetlands conformance, just due to the amount of disturbance close and uphill from where the wetlands are. But because it is horse farm related and it would fall under the agricultural exemption. So that is what we are looking for. For you to vote on that, to say that they do not need a wetlands permit.
I have one question about the ADU. What are we gonna do? What is the ADU?
Oh, it's for the groomers.
The groom's quarters.
Okay, so that was gonna be my next question, once you answered that. So it's gonna be used by farm employees or people that are participating in the farm activity? Okay, very good.
And that is gonna be, I'm assuming, tied into an existing septic system.
Actually, there's an existing building on the caretaker's cottage that has an existing septic system. We are taking that system out and we're putting in a 2,500 tank between the caretaker's cottage and barn. And that is what the health department had asked us to do, and we're doing it. So we have an approved septic plan in place. The engineering department has already approved drainage on the project.
Yeah, all good.
Okay.
All right.
Exciting. That's a beautiful property. That's the old Rogers property, right? Yeah. Looking nice.
Any motions?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the necessary rule.
Kathy seconded, yeah. Okay, all in favor?
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, bills and bond releases, none. 9, legal enforcement action, number 1 is 3642 block by turnpike. Map 72 lot and 13 notice violation issued to property owner for conducting regulated activities in a regulated area. No response to NOV or corrective action. State town attorney is initiating legal action following expiration of the publication period. I think that's what it's going for.
Yeah, it's with the town attorney right now.
Okay, good. Okay. Number 2 is the Pilot House Special Needs Resource Foundation, 1230 and 1260 Merlin's Lane, map 220, parcel 11 and 12. Recent agency denial petition declaratory ruling request for allowed position of asphalt millings to create parking areas in a regulated area. Initial department meeting with Wetlands professional on January 28, 2025 to discuss concepts for corrective action. Sarah? update with that?
So is here. I don't
Okay.
know if there is any update, but I think she was here just to give a.
Is there?
Yeah, she is still working on.
Okay.
Mr. Kenny is here too.
Maybe just give us an update if there's movement.
There is movement and I apologize. We did something.
We're okay, just as long as it's not.
I just want you to know
There's a
that we're
difference
not,
between, there's a difference between the prior one, which goes to town council, and when people are working with us, that's, we're happy.
That's the plan moving forward.
And I hope,
This delay is my fault.
it's okay, if you have the dialogue, yes, you guys have the dialogue with the staff. You don't have to,
it's late.
it's late, and you didn't have to be here if you just had, called and said, that, as long as we get the update.
We wanted to.
I want you to know that I'm taking this
Very
seriously.
Very nice.
Just want to work with you and move
appreciate
this
it.
forward.
Very nice.
That it's not. I don't have fault.
You're a busy guy.
You're in big trouble.
Yeah, you were out playing golf, that's why.
Right. You're hooking your shot, right?
I don't have facts.
All right, well then, we'll just keep working on it as we're working on it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Right, good luck.
All right, and Number 3, again, it's muddy.
Yeah,
puddle.
we'll change that. That's
Clear
just
for the
been
record.
getting
Yeah.
carried over. I'll
Puddle.
make sure it's.
We're muddling through the
Yeah,
mud.
I was gonna say, either way,
It
it's
is
muddled.
muddled.
373 Cross Highway, map 170, lot 36. Conducting a significant activity, filling of inland wetlands and regulated permit. Anything happening there?
No update with that yet. I know, and had spoken with their attorney
Okay.
when the notice citation was first received. They did have an on conference to respond, so there's still a little bit of
Within
time.
the, yep, it's within the time frame, so that's fine. An attorney reached out, they'll do what they have to do. Okay? Moving on to number 4, Stony Brook, Bay, 1121 Westport Turnpike, map 214, lot 24, unauthorized excavation and site work in and around the Active River. Status update.
So this was one from last summer where it's a violation and then it was kind of stalled as he was working with get deep to try and figure out where the permitting was, and it was with their dam safety. He put up some information on the CAD file, but essentially they do have, they did have a permit for the work, but had not notified us that they were going to be doing anything. Tim did say, make sure you notify us when they do it, and if there's any other further work, such as possible removal of the dam, that we need to be involved.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Number 5 is Perillo, 1569 Bronson Road, map 174, lot 6. Notice of violation issued to the property owner for conducting regulated activities, construction of a patio in a regulated area without permit. That just that.
Yeah, this was just
Okay.
and it's, Tim's been working with
With
them. Yeah, it was,
Is that just the upland review area?
it was
off of
within,
the-
yeah, so I think there's a water course on the side of the property, so it's in the upland review and they need to put in drainage, but the house was on the market. And we found it because people kept calling and asking about the property, and as we were looking at aerials, we saw a patio had been
Okay.
built. So we wanted to handle it.
Yeah, is that, because that's on the western side. 1569 is on the western side.
Well,
Well,
the
the paperwork says,
Yeah.
Brookside.
Yeah, just up from the cemetery.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, so it is,
It
it
does
is.
say-
it is Brookside, I'm sorry.
Okay,
It is.
well, thank you for pointing that out. I
Yeah.
would not have.
Yes,
Oh, I was,
Okay.
okay, got it.
it is Brookside.
So number 5, Perillo, just clarify and what the
Yeah,
actual.
we'll change
address is.
that when we
Right,
do the minutes and,
Okay. very good,
there's no decisions on that one, so nothing has to go in the paper.
good.
Um,
Number 6, WP-23-0153 Hudson H75 Millville Road. Map 228, parcel 95, construction of pool patio drainage improvements and fencing within a regulated area. Update on MOD and motion to argue. You all saw it, it's attached to the packet here too. They try to file a motion of an appeal, it's a late appeal, but I think within a few hours of the filing, Judge Ratcliffe denied it. So that's.
It's,
Okay.
Thank God.
And where is where's this is not supposed to be here. The Quaker, what's going on with Quaker?
I think that might be on the
Is that conservation?
conservation for the easement, but I think there was something recently, I believe their attorneys were working
Okay, all right.
on something, I think Tim
Well, that's
has been
good.
in touch, but we
Okay.
had put that on next month's agenda
No,
to.
it's okay. For some reason, I thought it was under the inland wetlands, but as long as there's.
Yeah, it's,
Should be on here,
She
but-
filed a claim because we rejected it. It's fine for. She has filed a.
yes, there was,
An
yeah,
appeal, but that's fine.
but we haven't gotten any.
Fine.
all right.
All right, number 10, Roman Head staff report. Number 1, reports from the Conservation Department. A, CWC, permit applications received 13, B, notice of violation issued 1, and C, bond released 8. That's it, nothing crazy, okay, good.
Spring started early. It's been busy.
Yeah, number 2, sidewalks for March.
I don't think you really need any. I don't
Anybody
think
wanna
there's
go to the golf
anything.
course? Nope,
I do,
you do?
yeah.
Okay, we can set that up for you.
Yeah, great.
And
I think I'll go, seriously.
Oh, yeah, I'll go with you.
Yeah, great.
Let's do
all right,
it.
so you know what, we're actually gonna do a golf course site walk, so if you can coordinate that.
Yeah.
We close a public hearing, we're not gonna vote on it tonight, so we'll go look at that and then
Yeah.
we'll put it on for the next, obviously, meeting.
Okay.
But between now and then, and with the time now, maybe we do like a midweek, 6 o'clock kind of thing.
Wednesday,
Yeah, Wednesday, 6 o'clock kind of thing.
whatever, sure.
Yeah, I'll see what works, because
what
they
works.
can probably get golf carts or something.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, so at least I'll go to 1, 2, 3.
Drive fast.
At least probably 5 or 6 clubs. Yeah, right.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, so then that's good. And number 3 is an update on 150 Villa. I know that.
Yeah, so that had been a stormwater detention and wetland enhancement project that the
Right.
town was doing. That is now delayed and possibly indefinitely. They are working with neighbors to try and, I guess, think of alternatives, but yeah, so we don't really know much. What's up?
You get a big grant for that?
There was a grant for that, yes.
Was for the
Delayed
design
for
of
what
the.
reason?
So,
Deal?
my understanding is, the neighbor opposition, but I don't, but Tim has been involved in it, I have not been, so I don't know that.
You know if it.
Yeah, engineering was spearheading it, so.
The grant was for the design of the path.
There was a
and,
trail, for the
land area,
trails.
So that's dependent on this other going forward.
Yeah, so we don't know where that stands
Yeah.
now with the rest of the project.
All right, good. Anything else? Anybody have anything further?
Other, yes, the Board of Selectmen approved the pilot for the non-toxic rodenticides in Fairfield. So that is moving forward. We're going to be setting up training of volunteers
Yes.
shortly. And I've done an interview with the Bridgeport paper and it's going into the selectmen's piece. And we also got a call from not Southport, from Easton. So there's several write-ups.
Connecticut, citizen called me.
Okay, all right.
So, yeah, I mean, it's.
It's getting some buzz.
The good, the,
It reflects on
the hope is that
conservation.
we can provide, if the pilot program is successful, we can go to the state and say, you can now, ban second generation anticoagulant, rodenticides because there's a viable.
Right. So it's a big deal.
So, yeah.
All right.
That would be a big day.
That
Motion we close.
motion second, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.